Folks, I am super duper excited about today's show. Today, joining us today is a candidate for the House from Texas and also a master debater, Isaiah Martin. And he joins us today um, after running a gauntlet with MAGA debaters, 20 in total. And so we will get into that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the state of our nation. We are a mess. We are a hot mess, right? We have never been more polarized, more divided than we are right now. It is a constant fight, a grinding, nasty fight. And at some point, we are going to have to start talking to each other, not talking at each other, not yelling at each other, but talking to each other. Today, Pam Bondi was in the House and she was listening. She was hearing questions, but she wasn't listening to them. She wasn't replying to them. She was talking at them and she was attacking. Not quite a debate, but just a non good faith attempt at circumventing the people's will. The people wanted answers from her, and she didn't give them. But in a debate, you often have a free exchange, a free and fair exchange of ideas. And that is what today's guest is going to impart with us. He went through this thing called Surrounded by Jubilee. And it has been one of my favorite things to watch. Uh, it's very entertaining. Picture this. And MAGA, I am so sorry if you're watching and you're a little salty about how he's treated your fellow man, but I myself personally have enjoyed watching him one by one decimate and humiliate these people on the stage, timed and very calm, cool, and collected. He just unfolds his ideas, and it had nothing for him. So here are some of the on the screen right now. These are some of the faces of the of the decimated, and I cannot wait to share with you some clips from what this gentleman has done. He's a really nice guy. He's super duper intelligent. His name is Isaiah Martin, if you didn't already know him. And in addition to discussing his talents, he is going to share with us how you can incorporate some of the things that he does into your little debates and show you how to dominate your least favorite MAGA friends. In addition to that, he is also going to help break down what the heck Pam Bondi was doing, the Attorney General. We're also going to get into some other things like the SAVE Act, the real winner of this year's Super Bowl halftime show. And I hope you're ready to get into it because I am. Let's go. Incredible person, incredible human being. Yes, famous. Yes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Defiant Weekly. I'm your host, Majid Padelin, a.k.a. Brooklyn Dad Defiant, a.k.a. BDD. And here with us today is my friend, as I said, Texas congressional candidate and master debater, Isaiah Martin. Welcome, Isaiah.
Former candidate for Congress, but I'm super excited to be here. And we're going to have some fun, man. We always do BDD.
Yeah. So did you get a chance to watch the Super Bowl this Sunday?
I did. I saw the Super Bowl. I saw the halftime show. It was great.
Actually, yeah, of course you did, because I saw one of your tweets on your feed actually had more views than the Kid Rock special, which, I mean, congratulations to you and your tweet.
Thank you.
And I don't feel sorry for Kid Rock or MAGA at all. I can't even believe I can't believe people brought themselves to tune in to a known pedophile. A guy, you know the lyrics of his song?
No, I don't. I don't know any of Kid Rock songs. Honestly.
Well, there's one where he talks about he loves underage girls, and he says something like they say it's, some people say it's statutory, I say it's mandatory. Yeah, and this is what the Republicans are giving a big old reach around to. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's part of the course for MAGA nowadays. You know, I mean, it's kind of what they do. They cape people like that.
I want to really say a brief hello to some of the folks who are joining us here. I see up at the top here, it says pass John Lewis voting bill, hashtag good trouble is very much at the top, followed by Joanne Kennedy. Thanks for the link to share. And she also shared something interesting in the chat earlier. I wonder if you're familiar with this word. It's called pettifogger. Oh, you know that? I'm only like, I was 15 minutes ago.
It's a Jon Stewart thing.
Is it?
It was a clip he did years ago, and pettifogging was like a big thing. It went viral.
So I'll share with the rest of the audience here. She said that a pettifogger is an inferior legal practitioner. And I think that's got to be the word of the day for Pam Bondi. Did you see that mess?
Oh my gosh, dude, it was insane. I mean, Pam is terrible. I mean, she was just deflecting left and right. She was pivoting to me because she had no answers.
Yeah,
it was pretty clear.
And to the rest of my my lovely viewers, I thank you for joining us. Apologize, I can't go through the whole roll call as I usually do because I got to be respectful of my man's time here, and it is limited. With that said, those of you who have tuned in for the past several weeks already know that BDD has some new stuff that he's on right now, and it's the wheel. It's not a wheel of fortune, but it is a wheel of possibilities. And as I explained to you, there are so many insane things that are happening in our country these days that there's no shortage of topics to discuss. So to help navigate us through these topics, we're going to spin this wheel and see what we land on. First, I have, let's see, the first topic is Pam Bondi grilled in the House, followed by Howard Lutnick exposed. He lied about not going to Epstein Island, and he needs to be held accountable for that. Followed by the racist Trump attack on the Obamas. And then the SAVE Act is going to hurt women voters for sure. Absolutely for sure. There's no doubt about that. Bad Bunny rocks, Kid Rock sucks. Midterm outlook. Debate demo, which I'm looking forward to very much. And last but not least, personal questions for Isaiah. But right off the bat, I am going to just go ahead and turn this wheel onto Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi. Well, let me see if it ends up there. Let's do that. Let's spin this wheel, because if it doesn't, we're going to talk about it anyway. Oh, so close. That's Howard Lutnick. We're going to get to Howard eventually, but not right now. Right now, we're going to discuss what the hell I want to discuss here. Oh, but before I forget, please make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. Do it now. Do it now. Subscribe is in your lower right-hand corner of the screen, and the like button obviously looks like the thumbs up right there. Please do it, and thank you for that. Um, yeah, so he exposes her. The he in that sentence is my friend. It's my friend Isaiah. We're going to tap your expertise in f- debate, but before we do that, I want to ask you: did you debate in high school or college,
No,
dude?
actually,
For real?
I didn't.
Did you
Never took a
take a
class
did
or
you
a
take a
course.
course on it after high school or college?
No, no.
All right. So before we do anything else, I have to stop uh, fawning over your performance and let the audience see for themselves what the hell it is that Brooklyn Dad is talking about here. Let's share. I do have some clips here. Uh, 4 minutes of permanent grill marks. That was
Stop.
one of my favorites. I like this one here. 4 minutes of straight belt to ass.
Yeah.
So, oh my god. Where okay. Let me start with how you lean in and you're like, who negotiated it? And I'm like, so for me as an audience member, I'm watching this, right? And it kind of reminds me of like I watch a lot of horror movies, right? And there's a certain point where they shouldn't go into that room, right? And when you say who negotiated it, I'm like, oh, that's that moment where normally you'd be like, no, don't go in that room. But since it's MAGA, I'm like, yeah, go ahead, go in that room.
Step in
Go
it.
ahead.
Step in it.
Yeah. So did
Yeah.
you have a strategy? Like that's 20 people. That's what why? First of all, why did you do this?
To be honest with you, I do my TikTok live almost every night, right? So I debate like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Trump supporters every week. And so for me, I thought it would just be kind of very similar. But it actually turned out to be a lot different because, on TikTok, it's a 1v1, right? You can only
Yeah.
hear each other's voices. But with this, you're surrounded with 20 people. And the
Mhm.
mics, they don't really pick up on it. But, you've got like all these folks that are talking in the background. Like they're really, it's like walking into an away game, basically. Like if you play basketball, like
Yeah.
of all these
Yeah.
people, it's very raucous. So I did it because I knew I could beat those guys. I knew that it would be able to show people that Republicans have no facts. And really, that's kind of all it was to it.
Interesting. You said I knew I could beat those guys. So obviously, you are brimming with confidence, right? Why? Why do you have so much? Like I knew I could beat those guys. You're surrounded by 20 of them. Um, Also, I might add, uh, you had a solid command of the facts. They were readily at your disposal, and um, I don't think we played that clip long enough to show like every once in a while. I guess surrounded, they put up a graphic on the side of the thing. Was that your graphic or theirs?
Theirs. Their
Yeah.
facts.
See, so they put up a graphic that validates what you just said, which is like awesome. And half of them, it seemed like you're right. They did, but you didn't know that going in. You didn't know you were walking into a room full of coolest, you know, bobbleheads. One of them isn't he a candidate? Didn't you just destroy his
Yeah. I was looking on Threads BDD, and he's getting like 1,000 comments, like ratio, like every time he posts. And I'm like, man, this poor guy is getting just completely his campaign's over. Like it ended. It's
you
crazy.
didn't seem nervous at all.
Mm-mm.
What
No.
was the deal with those red flags?
So the red flag is it's basically like a vote, right? So when the majority of the room raises their flag, that's them voting that person that's in the chair out. So it's basically their way to grade on whether or not they think the person is doing a good job. So if you watch the thing, you'll see some people get voted out in like a minute and a half because they're
Ah,
just getting completely dunked on. So it really kind of just depends on, what the group is thinking at the time and kind of how they want to do it.
I see. And do they only get one shot at you?
No,
Or like
actually.
if
So
after they get voted down, can they jump back in?
they can come back up. So that's the thing. Like they, um, can come back up and if they want. So a lot of people like went twice, throughout the episode. So it was really interesting how it worked.
I just want to go back to the faces,
Yeah.
the faces here. These faces, ladies and gentlemen, are an accurate representation of how these people were feeling after Isaiah absolutely smoked them. He did not leave like any morsels, to be taken to the emergency ward or
The
anything. They,
tire
they were
marks are still there
completely,
somewhere.
yeah, yeah. Um, how did you manage to stay focused? Because I'm watching this, right? And the two things I noticed, right? One is that it's a common thread amongst MAGA is that they believe that volume makes you more right, and
Right.
I hate that. By the way, I also hate the talking over the voices. But then I noticed, like when you did that, so who signed it? Who negotiated it? When you do that, it almost makes them have to lean in a little bit, and
Right.
it's like you're setting the trap right there. But then when they start to elevate and talk over your voice, you're able to turn your dial up too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The biggest thing, I think I kind of got that from TikTok Live, because of the fact there are no moderators on TikTok Live, right? So it's really just a conversation. So the way I've kind of learned over the years to get them to calm down is to slow myself down and to really kind of like, put emphasis on the things that I say because that makes them be like, oh, what is he really trying to say? What is he trying to do here?
Right,
It's
right.
kind of like a natural thing for them. But yeah, no, it was really interesting. I stayed calm because I put in a lot of work to study, beforehand, to know everything that I was talking about. I mean, literally, it was like I was studying for the SAT or like the LSAT or something. Like I had like notebooks all set up, like pages and pages and pages of information. I studied for weeks. I didn't leave my apartment, and so by the time it came time for the Jubilee, I mean, it was like just right off the back of my hand. I knew what I was talking about. Yeah, 100%.
Interesting, interesting. So before then, I would say to the audience, then before embarking on a debate, before engaging in debate with someone, you should have a solid command of the facts. Yeah.
And that's what's interesting. Like they all had like time to prepare for all of this, and none of them, I think did the requisite work necessary to get there. Yeah, it was pretty pathetic, if I must say so myself.
All right. Let me segue now into then what we witnessed, the disaster. This was an abysmal shit show that we witnessed today, watching the Pam Bondi hearing. It started this morning around 10 o'clock. It featured victims, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, who are you can see there in the picture. They are all raising their hand. I believe that was in response to, can't remember who asked the question, but
Jayapal.
oh, okay. Representative Jayapal, um, what did she ask them? What was the question?
She asked them if they had the opportunity to go to the DOJ
Ah,
to talk about their situations.
she was asked. Actually, Pam Bondi was asked multiple times to turn and look at the victims, the survivors, and to apologize. And she wouldn't even turn and look at them at all. I mean, what part of your humanity are you missing that you can't turn your head 90 degrees, or is it 180, whatever? You can't turn your head to look and at least show some compassion, right?
Right. You would think. I mean, you would think that'd be the very least that she could do, but you know, that's just humanity and Pam Bondi are not two things that go together.
So Aaron Rupar, who was on the show last week, tweeted here: Bondi is trying to run out the clock on Massey's questioning by talking over him. And then Bondi is now just straight up ignoring questions from Democratic members. What did you notice about what Pam Bondi was doing up there?
Well, typically what conservatives do, and I saw this a lot on my Jubilee episode, they love to pivot. I always say they dream shake like Elijah one in the summit. They're always, putting the different moves on, trying to change the subject. And the reason is because they have no answers, right? So for Bondi, she really wanted to pivot to this narrative, this fake narrative that they've created on the economy, and use that for her sound bites that would be pushed out. That was very clear. That was her strategy throughout the thing. Whenever she got backed up into a corner, she pivoted into some lie about the economy. Um, and so it's a standard trademark of what Republicans do. They can't answer questions, and that's why it's more important now than ever to hold their feet to the fire. You cannot let them move off topic. You have to interrupt them, and get them back in track, because I think that's what we saw from Bondi a lot today.
You said she pivoted to the economy. That was the most like bizarre thing where she said the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing, really, because the rest of us, watching knew exactly why they were laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. Like, why are you shouting about this? What does this have to do with Epstein? What does the Dow have anything to do with the Department of Justice, with victims, with anything other than the stock market?
Right. But you know what, BDD? I honestly think that this is the first time in a long time that this stuff is not playing as well with their base as they thought it would. Because I saw a lot of accounts that were definitely red pilled, red coded accounts that were tweeting effectively, what WTF Bondi, like, what are you doing? Right. And so I think that a lot of people saw through it. The Epstein thing is just like so indefensible, um, that her skirting to the economy when they're asking about children being trafficked is like just as pathetic and disgusting as it gets.
Yeah. I so you mentioned a minute ago red pilled, and I just want to, for those of you in the audience not familiar with red pilled, that's a reference to the Matrix, where people believe that there are basically two realities, and one of them, if you take one pill, it shows you what what the real reality is, and the blue pill, you stay asleep. And so red pilled means these are people who believe they're based, and they're the true believers.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right? Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Essentially. So
Yeah,
in
basically.
uh, to piggyback of what you were saying, I saw one video made by what I believe was a red pill guy, and at first I was going to retweet it because I was like, oh, look at him, he was actually going in on Trump. He was like, you know what, we elected you and we wanted you to do this, and it's a joke what you're doing with the Epstein file. And he was like really angry, but then he started talking about like some violent stuff, and I was like, oh wait, whoa, hey,
Whoa,
hey,
whoa,
I
whoa.
can't, I'm not
You trying to get
retweeting
on the
that.
watch list?
Yeah.
Right.
So but yeah, you're absolutely right. They are riled up about how Pam Bondi is basically running cover for
Yeah.
the rich and powerful,
The
they
Epstein
called it
class.
the elite class, the Epstein class. Who was that?
Yeah.
Was that Rokana?
Rokana Ossoff. I saw Ossoff say
John Ossoff this
that.
weekend. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so at one point, I have these words written under the pictures here. I have empathy, deflection, and whataboutisms. These were three different things that I noticed Pam Bondi um, employing during her grilling today. Do you feel compelled to talk about any one of these?
Yeah, so the whataboutism I always say is when the conservatives say, what about Biden? What about? That's my little thing about what they always do. They always go into the whataboutisms. They cannot answer questions directly. And so, like I said, I think that is why it's really important that when they do that, you keep focus. You don't go into the rabbit hole that they're trying to drive you down. Nail them on the question that you've asked, and you'll see them stutter and bumble and fumble every single time because they don't have an answer.
Let me play another one of these clips here because I'm pretty sure you dealt with at least one whataboutism in these debates here. And I think it was it this dude? Let's see. Oh, I think it might have been this lady here with the tariffs. What's this? Grill marks. Yeah, let's jump in on this one here. Boom. Boom. That was very, very well done. Expertly engaged. There were several things. Her whataboutism was Lake and Riley. They love to summon up Lake and Riley's name. And you know what? What you did was actually brilliant, right? Because you employed the you conceded ground, which I do understand. I'm not a debater. I would not have a chance debating against you, or probably I could probably handle half of that room.
Oh yeah, you could. You
um, but you deployed empathy, right? And you conceded ground, which that kind of makes them have to they have to refocus and recenter, and you stayed focused despite the fact that she was trying to deflect and move the goalposts and all that stuff. um yeah, very, very well done.
100%. I mean, because in that situation, I mean, you know, I think we all agree in this country that what happened to Lake and Riley was, abhorrent. And what the right loves more than anything is to try to catch you in a situation where you don't acknowledge that. So I wanted to make sure that I made my feelings about that very clear, but without losing sight of the fact that the whole topic in the discussion about immigration, about Trump not doing anything whatsoever to advance legal immigration, and number two, this whole idea of rounding up random people off the street, showing that that was unsafe, was really my focus, and I wanted to make sure that she stayed very focused on that.
I love that you brought that up too, because that is a very important um thing to get through to them. If you're stating that, um first of all, I despise the fact that she said letting the right people in. I don't know if
I
you
know,
caught
I
that. I
caught
was
that.
like,
Yeah, I did.
what? Who are the
But see,
right
you know what?
people?
But see, that's another thing, right? So I caught that early on, like when she said that. But I knew that if I were to go in there, it would completely derail the point. So
Yep.
I had to sit back and be like, you know what? I'm gonna just sit back. I'm gonna let that go because if I go there, the rabbit hole is gonna be unlimited. So it's almost like picking your battles, like
Uh-huh.
figuring out like where you're gonna strike and where you're not.
Okay. So do you remember? Of course you remember. You remember President Biden's last fateful debate against Donald Trump,
Yeah,
where he used that thing called
the secret
damn,
sauce.
what's no, there's a term, Gallup, Gish Gallup,
Oh, Gish
right?
Gallop. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gish Gallup or Gish Gallup, whatever,
Yeah.
where he throws out
Right.
five, six, seven, eight things, and
Mm-hmm.
you feel, or at least Joe might have felt compelled to have to defend,
Mm-hmm.
or or fight against all of them, and then he short circuited. I'm sure that's what happened. So what do you do when someone throws a bunch of bullshit at you? How do you stay focused?
The way I see it, right, is like imagine that person is someone with a bad arm, right? Imagine and they're someone that throws a baseball. They've got a terrible arm. They cannot hit the catcher to save their life. They're throwing all over the place, right? When they're gish galloping like that, they will never be able to hit you, right? They're just sporadically just throwing stuff out. The thing to do is just to kind of stay calm, let them do that, and go back to the main focus. So like whenever they start saying, "Well, what about this?" or "What about this?" You did this or you did that. I always will be like, "That's not what we're talking about. You're pivoting. We're not talking about any of that. What we're talking about is the fact that you're rounding up people in our country and you're literally going and having ICE go out in our streets and shooting people in the face. That's what we're talking about." And so I think that when you can kind of keep the conversation focused on whatever the question is at hand, it also makes them look really stupid and desperate because they're doing everything they can to pivot away from that. The other thing that I also like to do is I like to punch um, at my opponents whenever they're flustered. I could see you flustered. I can see it in your face. I do
Yeah,
that all the time.
yeah, you did
You
that. You did that a lot. That was very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Very effective. All right. Before I run out of time here, let's see if we can pull up another topic here. We're both in agreement that Pam Bondi probably should resign or should be fired, and she's not.
Impeached, locked up, all kinds of
She
stuff.
she she doesn't measure up to the task of
No.
right. I mean, she's more
They
like
have
a
a difference.
cheerleader than anything else.
Yeah. She's out of depth. She has no idea what's going on.
All right, let's do this. What's that? That's the green Trump's racist attack on Obama's. All right. So, of course, by now, you've already seen that nasty post um, where he put up a screenshot of the Obamas as depicted as apes, right? And then he did what he always does. He claims, "Oh, I didn't know anything about it. Oh, it was a staffer. There's nothing wrong with it from the Lion King." What's your take on that whole? Why did he do that?
I mean, I've always said, Trump has a sub chimp IQ, man. So it's like for him, like it's just he's got to find a way to cope with it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like in his head, like he doesn't really have very high brain processing powers. So he's always trying to come up with ways to try to, I guess, see other people as himself. And that's honestly the way I saw that. I saw it, and I just immediately was like, this dude's pathetic. Like, it's just really what it is. And I think for the vast majority of Americans, they know that our economy sucks. Everything is getting worse in America as we see it. The job market is terrible. Unemployment is through the roof. I mean, everything sucks. Prices are up. Farmers are getting bankrupted. So look, what Trump does is he loves to throw stuff into the air to get you to talk about that instead of the real insanity that he's doing. And I just saw right through it immediately, to be honest with you.
Okay, so 100% correct. What he does is not just throw anything up in the air, but it is 9 times out of 10, it's the culture war variety, that stuff.
Yeah.
And frankly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that we have figured out the cheat code for dealing with those cultural um, those culture war diversions or distractions, right? They get us to defend or attack something, focus on something that is really it's just ignorant and hateful and irrelevant. But we do it does take up a lot of our time and energy. The media jumps all over it, and then the discussion is not focused on how abysmal his economy is doing and how stupid his tariffs are and how many court cases he's losing as he's attempting to um, attack people or get retribution for the past 10 years on people. So he's flailing, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I think I think he's out of ideas, and the lowest common denominator, the racism, is the one thing that sticks for his base. And so maybe I think maybe he's just throwing that out as like comfort food.
You know what,
What
BDD? To be honest with you, my take on this, the way to defeat this kind of stuff is to, I think, recognize it for what it is. To be honest with you, there's nothing that Trump says or does that personally offends me because I know he's an idiot, right? So it's just like, for example, if you go to your kid or little cousin's preschool and some other kid over there calls you ugly, are you gonna like lose your mind over that? Like, no, you're just gonna be like, that's a kid. I see with Trump that he's an idiot. He's low IQ. He's stupid. And so personally, I think that what we should start doing when that happens He's calling it for what it is. This is an idiot. He's stupid. But this is nothing more than a distraction from him in his terrible economy. Because every time I think that we go into these like multi-day, conversations about the stupid and insane things that he does, I think that it moves us off away from our core message. So that's my take on it per se. I know, like, that's why on my social media I really stay focused on, like I said, calling Trump a low IQ moron, and this is like what people like that do. Um, but ultimately, um, we have to stay focused on our main message and not let them get us off base, because it's almost like, for example, going back to baseball, he's throwing pitches like way far outside, right, and we're swinging at him, right, and so we just need to just not take the bait, I think, on those situations, even though it's terrible and just disgusting for all of us to see.
That's a good one. I think for me initially, seeing that, there's that shock in you, like, hang on a second, this is our president. It's like it doesn't compute, right? And I I'm gonna put it on myself. I short circuit a little bit. It does throw me for a loop, because part of my brain is like, this is insane. Not even Ronald Reagan did this crap. The worst presidents I could think of didn't do stuff like this. This is a bit. This is horrendous.
Remember we used to think that like Bush was like the worst president
Oh
ever.
my God, he looks like a statesman by now.
I mean, isn't it insane?
Yeah.
Like, I remember being in school at the time and everybody saying that Bush was the worst thing ever, and I fully believed that, as I got older. And then this guy comes around, I'm like, oh man, that's crazy, right?
Yeah. And so what I would like to try to do, me personally, is when stuff like that happens, remind people that, you've seen that cartoon, that meme where there's two guys sitting at a table. One is like, he's got a hard hat on, he's like a blue collar worker. Another one is an immigrant, and then in the middle
Oh yeah, yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
super
yeah, yeah.
rich billionaire who has all
With
the
all the
cookies.
cookies, right?
And then
Mm-hmm.
the blue collar worker has one cookie, the
Mm-hmm.
immigrant has no cookies, and
Right.
the rich guy says, "Look out, mate, that foreigner wants your cookie." And
Right.
meanwhile, he's got a stockpile of he's got enough cookies
All
to
the
feed
cookies.
everybody.
Right.
And at the end of the day, the billionaires and the people who support them are trying to keep us little
Right.
people fighting amongst ourselves over
Right.
little insignificant
Right.
issues.
Exactly.
The issue's not black or white, it's not straight or
Right.
gay, it's not Christian or Muslim, it's rich versus poor.
Right.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Amen.
That's what it is, brother.
Um, so what were we were talking about the Obamas? Oh, so let me put this back up here. I said they they identified
I almost spit on my water.
the low level staffer was uh, John Barron, believe is his
Oh
name. Yeah.
gosh.
And yeah, he said, how can anyone defend this? He said it was from video from The Lion King, and there were no apes in The Lion King. I hate that we have to, like, you know, unravel this down to the nth degree, to the last racist molecule, but whatever. Let's go back to the wheel. This is a good one. This is a good one. So there was a hashtag today, about the Save Act, and trying to it was like, I forget the hashtag. Give me a second here, but this says Save Act to hurt women voters. You're familiar with the Save Act, right?
Right.
And the kind of damage it would do. Would you like to elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, this is what I call the Trump losing election response act. This is what they understand. They feel as if they have to do because they're losing elections. They lost Miami mayor race for the first time in 30 years. They lost in Kentucky special elections. They lost in Texas. They lost in Georgia. They lost in lieutenant governorship, attorney generalship in Virginia, 12 seats. of the Virginia House of Delegates. They're losing all across this country. MAGA is dying. And so
Yeah.
what they feel like they have to do is to try to go and to redo voter rolls and to try to go put more ID requirements, claiming that illegal or undocumented immigrants can vote when we all know they cannot. And this is just what they want to do to get their hands on the voter rolls of the people of this country. I don't think that they will be very successful in doing this. Ultimately, I think that states are going to be able to push back and really we'll be able to see the Republicans get voted out by really big margins this November. But this is, I think, to be honest with you, BDD, this is what panic looks like. This is what happens when you have a party that knows that they're a couple months away from getting kicked, because they remember what happened after Trump's first midterm. They remember all the seats, the 40 plus seats that they lost as a result of his ridiculous policies. That's coming again, but it's going to be a lot stronger. And it's pretty open. That's why they're doing this.
It absolutely does feel like this year is shaping up to be even like more blue wavy than any other previous year, just because there's just such a tsunami of shit coming from this administration, like, and these are self-inflicted wounds, like immigration. He should be killing it on, not literally, but he should, that's his area, right? The immigration thing. But, oh, I voted for this, but wait, now your immigration thugs are kidnapping and shooting and killing United States citizens. So, and on top of that, one of your debates, you pointed out to an unfortunate sob that that in fact he is not going after the worst of the worst. I think you cited was it 70% of the people who are being detained or arrested have no criminal record whatsoever, right? What was that 5%? That 5% stat?
Only 5% of the people they're deporting have been convicted of a violent crime.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, he has to admit.
In BDD, I just want to make sure that we can show the depth of how insane this is. When Barack Obama was president, 92% of the people that they were deporting were convicted criminals, and of that 92%, 81% was considered the worst of the worst by the federal government. So you went from a situation where you're talking about 80+% has now been transitioned to 5%.
Yeah.
These people are not going after the worst of the worst. It's making it very clear. It's why they're doing all these blanket raids. Last night, BDD, I had a story on my live that honestly, it made me really sad. Like, it was this guy from Alabama, very thick Alabama accent. He came to this country on DACA, or he got DACA after he came to this country. He was brought here as a very young child. He ended up getting deported by this administration, got sent to Mexico, and he was telling me he has no idea how Mexico works. He has no idea.
Is he Mexican?
He's Mexican, but he was brought here to the United States as a young child. He has no idea how Mexico works. He's there in a country. He has no idea. His child is here. His fiance or girlfriend, wife is here. It makes no sense.
No.
But this is the result of the policies they're pushing.
I'm glad you brought up the Obama statistics, because a lot of people have started saying, well, how come how come you didn't complain about Obama? Well, Obama wasn't ignoring anybody's Fourth Amendment rights. Obama wasn't ignoring due process. Obama was a very big difference. I didn't hear you guys complaining about it. I remember people talking about Obama back then being the deporter in chief, and that was our side. That was our side complaining about Obama's deportation stuff. So yeah, if they want to look it up, they can, but it's a waste of time. The point is, the reason why people are complaining about Trump is because the way he's going about doing it is wrong. He's hired a bunch of thugs. He hasn't trained them. He's given them some incentives that are sketchy at best. Did you see that article? It said like their bonus is like bogus. The bonus isn't even real.
They're getting like $50,000 or more than that. Like, it's
supposed to.
Yeah.
but some folks are saying, what do you call that? That they're not getting that 50K
Oh, they're not
bonus.
getting it. Oh wow,
Yes, is what I saw.
wow, that's crazy. I mean, that's part of the course. I mean, it's like why we're like 10 years into this thing and people are still shocked when Trump screws over people. It's really interesting.
It's so surprising that the guy who is known for stiffing people throughout
Literally,
his career would do
literally,
something like that. Go
who could have
figure.
ever imagined?
Oh, but hey, at least Tom Homan got his 50K in
He
a
got
brown paper
his.
bag or whatever.
He got his. That's right.
um,
Oh,
so yeah, what I did want to ask you specifically about this Save Act, this voter ID thing, right?
mhm.
Debate wise, right? Um, People are saying that, and I've seen some polls myself on the news, on MSNBC. They're saying that they're showing some stats where 70% of Democrats are in favor of voter ID. But I think when they say they're in favor of voter ID, they're talking about, yeah, if I can get away with showing my driver's license, I've already got that, right? But the Save Act has different requirements, doesn't it?
Yes.
More
So the main
stringent, right?
right. So there's a couple more. I haven't read in terms of the exact differences, but I believe it has something to do with like real ID. Is basically what they're trying to say. Look, I think that the vast majority of Americans don't have, or at least I can speak for myself. I don't have an issue with voter ID. The problem is that when you live in states that make it difficult to get an ID. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, in the state of Texas, where I currently reside, it is rather difficult. You've got to schedule an appointment to get an ID, and sometimes it can get a little bit difficult if you've got a busy schedule to go get one. And a lot of times people don't understand that and know that, and they end up missing deadlines that way,
Yeah.
right? So I think that it's got to be a lot of ways to be able to ensure that people can get access to their IDs. Because currently, as it stands today, if they're using this as more of a suppressive means, it's pretty clear.
So what they're all concernicus about is voter fraud. They keep talking about this. We're going to talk this about this voter fraud. The instances of voter fraud are, last time I checked, it was like 0.001 over the past 20 years. There is 0.001% instances of voter fraud, and there's like double digit instances over decades,
Yeah,
right? We're
I mean,
talking about
didn't Mike Lindell have to like pay someone because literally the instance of voter fraud was a Republican committing voter fraud and he got exposed or something like that? Like, you know, this is what we're talking about, right? Like
yeah.
these guys, they make up things in their head. Ultimately, it's because of the fact they want to get the voter rolls to try to go and kick regular people off of the voter rolls to cause them problems, all kind of issues going into election day. That's ultimately their goal that they want to try to push through. It's pretty
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Claudia here is saying she's hearing that real ID won't be enough for voting. The Trump Reaper is reminding us here that Trump was promising ICE will be at polling places. And yeah, this all stinks of like our ideas and policies are so bad that we're going to make it impossible for a majority of people to vote. And we're going to take our chances with that. We're going to roll the dice and hopefully we're not disenfranchising enough of our own voters because they don't know for a fact that the
I just read right here. Apparently, it says that in this you got to be able to show a proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. And so, because a driver's
birth
license
certificate.
does not prove right, it would include a birth certificate, a passport, a naturalization. So that's insane.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can already say I don't know if even a fifth of my friends have a passport. And even further than that, I've registered thousands of students to go vote on college campuses. They really don't have passports, right? So it's like that would really be disenfranchising a vast majority of Americans, and it also would serve effectively as a poll tax because
Yeah.
we know that passports cost $100+ to be able to go get filled. That's a poll
Mm-hmm.
tax.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
there's
but
also a
that's
time constraint too. You don't
yeah,
just apply for a passport and you get it 5 days
right,
later. That shit
exactly.
takes like weeks
It
and
takes some
weeks.
time, weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks to do. So that would mean that even if you were to go and register by the deadline, that you still might not be able to go vote.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Also,
That's insane.
women apparently. Here's why I said women are going to be penalized the most, as far as when they get married and they take their husband's name,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
their name on their
Birth
passport
certificate.
or whatever their ID is not going to be it's not going to match the
Right.
ID that they already have, so they're going to have to go and get new ID.
This is
You
insane.
know, it's a major hassle, um, and that's the amount of fear that they have of losing this midterm election is tremendous.
Yeah. That's insane.
Let me ask you a question about Texas. What is the sentiment? Now, you're in Houston, I believe, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. What's the sentiment on the ground in Texas? What are folks what are folks saying about this administration? Do they from your interactions with people, and I'm assuming that you interact not just with Democrats but with Republicans also. I would
Hmm.
think, it's hard to avoid, dealing with MAGA, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that Texas is very demoralized in terms of, I would say, Texas Democrats per se, especially because there's been a lot of elections that have not been, going the way that Texas Democrats would want them to go. So there definitely is a bit of apathy. But I will say that people that are more independent, that are conservative, they see the stuff that Trump is doing and it's hurting them. Like, for
Mm,
example, Chevron had 20,000 layoffs, right? And so that hurts directly people in Houston, right? Because a lot of people in Houston work for Chevron, they work for the oil companies. We're seeing big layoffs all across the board. And for them, they've been told or promised this golden age economy, and they're sitting back thinking about what's going to work for them. You drive through a lot of neighborhoods in Houston that are strong middle class neighborhoods that have a lot of for sale signs right now because people lost their jobs. Because they lost their jobs, they can't afford their mortgage. They're going to have to leave. You saw, for example, the Doge cuts. There's a big misconception or misunderstanding that those cuts only apply to government workers. But those Doge cuts also canceled contracts that private sector companies were working on as well. And when those companies lost those contracts, they ended up having to lay off a lot of people. So a lot of folks have ended up losing their jobs. And they understand very clearly that, look, the only thing that's changed has been a change in administration. So I do think this is a good opportunity for us to really um, use this moment to point out that Republican policies are not for you, they're for the richest 1% of Americans. And that all this culture war BS, whether it's the Obama meme, whether it is Trump in his insane postings on a daily basis, whatever it is, all of that serves to distract us from the pure heist that's happening in our government, where the richest people in America are getting richer, while everyday Americans are getting screwed over every single day.
See, now what you just said sounds to me like a bipartisan kind of message, and I'm saying that because during my intro, I talked about about there's a need for us as Americans to start talking to one another again. Like right now, it's very acrimonious. People we're just fighting. We're just angry at each other, and we've taken up our solid sides. And if to the point where if a certain actor is learned you've learned that they're MAGA, I'm not watching this movie. We have to get back to a point where we can talk to each other again. I'm not talking about, kumbaya. I'm just saying like we're not functioning as a nation right now. And I feel like we have to hit that sweet spot where there are some people who can hear what we are saying and they're like, you know what? I'm with you. I don't agree with 100% of what you have to say, but that part.
Right. 100%.
Um, and what do you think? What do you think we need to do? How can we tailor our message to win over, or and do we need to win over new people? Because I just saw, in fact, this morning I posted a tweet, and I'll share it with you here. This is one of my good morning and happy Wednesday to everyone who's thrilled to see Trump piling up losses. House voted against his tariff powers. He failed to indict 5 Democratic senators. We have all these special election wins. Luke Cruz in Oklahoma won plus 15 in a 60 plus 60 Trump district. Chastity Martinez last week won for Louisiana plus 24 in a 13 plus Trump district, and Taylor Remmett in your state won plus 14 in a plus 17 Trump district. So there are some special election wins that look like something special is happening. Is this a mirage or is this real?
No, this is very much real. And, in the question of, do we need to reach out to more people? I've always believed, as President Obama believed, that elections are won with addition instead of subtraction. We're not going to, I think, be able to subtract our way to an election, but I think that having a message that can resonate to people of all sides, I think is going to be really important. For example, I think John Ossoff did a really good job this weekend, really cutting through the noise of being able to talk about how insane a lot of this stuff that Trump is doing and the corruption that we're seeing. I think that if we put together a very strong message like that, we will be in a very good position after the midterms and in 2028 as well. And, like I said, the best way to do that is to just stick to the facts, talk about, the stuff that everybody sees in front of us, and talk about a way forward with an open door. I think is how we can win.
Okay, so I want you guys, my viewers out there, to start queuing up some questions for this brother here, because I'm not even going to spin the wheel again. If you have a question for Isaiah, let's keep it polite, and professional. You know how we do. Don't be nasty. And while we're waiting for you to cue that up, I do want to share one more of his debate things. I can't even tell you. Like I'm leaving my desk. I'm running into the kitchen to show my wife. Look at this. It's so great. And it's this guy, the guy whose political career I believe you ended. And he's one of those dudes who tried to talk over your voice. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, you see this guy, Nick Fuentes? He says things that sound like, oh shit, that's sensible, but it's wrapped in a neo-Nazi package that I can't mess with. But here he's saying the right's response to Bad Bunny's halftime show will drive normies to the left. Normies meaning like conservative, regular normies, not MAGA. It's literally fake outrage, self-ghettoizing, being overly political, pretending to like things. We have become the far left. Where is this guy? Not her. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I love this last shot of this guy holding his throat, like, oh my God, we're so cooked here. Oh, so what you did there was you stayed focused and you kept going forward and you went over his voice. And the funny thing about his thing is, like, as he's shouting at you, the dude was so shouty, for crying out loud. I would have probably got hung up on that, but you were focused and you just elevated and kept going and stayed the course. That thing when he started going in on Ilhan Omar, that was like that don't go in that room. Don't go in there.
Don't do it.
I find that a lot of attacks that the right tries to launch at us We're like, oh, really? You want to talk about corruption? Or you want to talk about pedophilia? You want to talk about, old
Right,
man, huh? Old man
right,
falling asleep
yeah,
in his office during meetings.
right,
That you want to talk
right.
about that? Um, every accusation is a confession. Yeah. So let's see. Who do we have here? Let's see. Okay, here's one from Charles Carroll. Says, Isaiah, do you agree that we're at a crossroads, that it isn't just MAGA, it isn't just progressive, that it is the oligarchs' generational wealth versus the rest of us?
100%. That's exactly what it is. It is the richest folks in America, the richest interests in America against all of us. I mean, that's why, I really support getting all outside money out of politics, putting spending limits on campaigns. All that stuff, I think, is how you fight back against this stuff. And I honestly believe that that needs to be at the forefront of anything we do moving forward because, this current track is just certainly not sustainable.
Um, do you believe that in your lifetime, I'm not sure it'll happen in my lifetime, but Citizens United has been, I would say, that the bane of our existence ever since that decision uh, was was foisted upon us. Do you think in your lifetime there is a chance that it will ever be overturned?
I do, and the reason is because I think that it will take it cannot come from one singular member of Congress. I think it would have to be someone elected to the presidency uh, that will literally wage war on this issue. Like that needs to be, I think, the singular issue of someone's presidency, because frankly, this whole situation of just unlimited money, unlimited groups, being able to go pour in to beat people in primaries, it should not be able to happen. And I think that a lot of folks are getting sick of it, and they vote for somebody that'd be willing to put that at the very top.
I would say, and I understand. I've kept you here for an hour and 10 minutes. I just want to make this make this last point here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we always have these major issues that have to be resolved. That it doesn't seem like we have enough willpower or good faith actors in order to make it happen. Like at one point, they used to have this thing, the Gang of Eight, whatever, where there were like people in Congress who were half were on from one party, the other half were from the other party, and they'd get together in a room and they'd hash things out. Immigration, a comprehensive immigration reform. I believe you can't continue doing this draconian, uh, you know, 3,000 ICE agents into one city, and you up cause major upheaval and disruption, and you can't keep doing that. You've got to come up with some policies that are not a band-aid, but like an actual solution. And then there's healthcare, right? Healthcare. It took the entire will of the whole Democratic Party in back in 2010. It was to get the Affordable Care Act passed, um, and now we're kind of in limbo, right? But that doesn't mean that we can continue to go forward with no health care plan. We need something. So that's something that needs to happen. If you had to choose between the two, which one is more attainable within a reasonable, and when I say reasonable, I mean 4 to 8 year period. I say 4 to 8 because that's one or two presidential terms.
Well, personally, I support getting rid of the filibuster, and the reason is because I think that just like in Canada, after they passed their national health care plan, it became so popular that no conservative in Canada could ever even dream of trying to take that away. I think that the same thing needs to be to happen here in America, so that way we could go forward and put a national health care plan together to be able to work for people in this country. Because frankly, medical debt is something that's out of control in this country. The amount that people are billed in this country for emergencies, cancer treatments, it's absolutely not sustainable. And look, I think the filibuster is going to be an obstacle for all of our lifetimes if we don't get this in line. So personally, I support getting rid of the filibuster, and
Mm.
healthcare would certainly be at the very top of my list to fix.
You mean when you say get rid of the filibuster, you mean just for that issue or just or altogether?
I support getting rid of it altogether. And the reason for that is because if you look at, the United Kingdom, if you look at place parliamentary countries, they are able to run without a filibuster existing to be as if this, I guess, stop of all progress. And personally, um, I think that if we were to do that, we could really pass through our agenda. And if the Republicans were to try to get in there and to push a lot of awful policies, I think people would have no other choice than to see just how bad their policies are, and they wouldn't be able to hide behind it anymore.
I got to say this. At one point, I remember being frightened of, or no, sorry, I remember being in favor of getting rid of the filibuster. But then there's that fear of what you just mentioned, of Republicans, trying to pass a bunch, like, let's say, for instance, the Save Act, right? The Save Act is horrible, horrible. Like we could have, if there was no filibuster, I suppose we could have passed the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act, and then we wouldn't be in this trouble. Hmm.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay.
We
And
could have
so,
got rid. We could have passed the Journalist Voting Rights Act. We could have passed, a public option. We could have done all kind of stuff. And I think that the result of that would be a Republican Party that would have had to adapt to people in this country that are not okay with their far right BS.
mm, mm.
Because look, I mean, at that point, the Republicans have to run on taking your national health care away, and people are not going to support that. Just like they don't do that in Canada, just like they cannot do that in the United Kingdom. And so, personally, I just think it would be the right thing to do to be able to get the ball moving. Because at its current stance, we cannot address the pressing problems in America. We cannot address money in politics. We cannot address the healthcare situation. We cannot address immigration. We can't address any of that stuff. And so we're effectively stuck into this system where we can't really go too far in the things that we want to change. And I don't believe that that's sustainable. We've got to be able to go forward and fix that personally.
Can we do that with the Congress that we have now, or do we need to do we need does there need to be a drastic changing of the guard?
I think a lot of people do support that in the current composition of Congress. I think we'll see
Republicans
kind of
too?
no, of course not.
No.
You know,
So
they
this would be
they're gonna have
strictly
to go.
this would be a primarily Democratic thing.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Interesting.
It's my hot
Isaiah,
take, I guess.
Isaiah, where can our viewers find your content?
Absolutely, Isaiah R. Martin, ISAIAHRMARTIN, on all platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Substack, everything. Isaiah R. Martin. It's always there.
Is that it
That's
right
it.
there?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, perfect, perfect. What's next for you besides and do we have a date for your election yet?
So the election's over. I did not win the election. The election is over
Oh,
in
dude, I
November.
am
Yeah.
crushed. I'm
Oh yeah.
crushed. I introduced you as in
Yeah.
Texas.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
so out of the loop. I'm sorry. I didn't know. When
Yeah.
did this happen?
Yeah. It happened November. November
I don't
of
even
this year.
understand that. I am bummed. I'm destroyed by this news.
No,
I
it's okay.
I love the stuff that you were putting out there. I saw your
Mhm.
TikToks a lot. Like whoever is your social media, it is that Olivia? Oliviana?
No, it's me and my brother put out pretty much
Josh?
everything. Yeah. Yeah. Uh huh.
Oh, he has skills. Brother has
Yeah.
skills. Let him know BDD
Yeah.
said that. Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
yeah. Oh yeah. No,
Fantastic,
we're
fantastic work.
putting in work. Yeah.
Is he cutting up the videos that the 1v1s that you do on TikTok?
No, I do. I do that. I do that.
Ah, yeah, you got skills, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep pumping out the content there, and I'm
For sure.
glad I've been able to introduce your your talent to the audience here.
100%.
Ooh, here's an interesting one. Lobbying should be banned. Also from Charles Carroll. What do you think about that?
I agree. That's why I support banning all outside money. I don't think that it should be able to exist for sure.
And Bernadette says Dems don't effectively use the filibuster. Okay. And medical debt is unnecessary and an OG control tactic. Well, Charles, I'm glad to have you in the fold in this conversation. This is a new viewer here. So welcome, Charles. He's watching through Twitter. Maybe for next week, you join us through YouTube so you can converse with the rest of our viewers here. Isaiah, I can't thank you enough for joining me here. It was a blast. I love your stuff. I'm still a fan of yours. Are you planning on going back on Surrounded?
I don't know. I mean, I know that they've been reaching out, so we'll see. We might have
another
thing coming up. You never know. We'll see.
Guys, go to his Twitter. There's also a video of him on Piers Morgan. He was there, and he made some comments about Donald Trump's racist bullshit. So make sure you check him out there, and on TikTok where he's flaming out MAGA on a daily basis. Thank you again, brother. Hold tight for me just for a few minutes while I sign off with the viewers here. Awesome. And folks, thank you again for joining me. Whoops. For joining me for another episode of the Defiant Weekly. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad Defiant. And I look forward to seeing you guys here next week. Same time, same place. I love you all. Peace. Incredible person, incredible human being. Yes, famous. Yes.